World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Hey, what's happening? Urbanology.
Good afternoon. Tony Rogers here, your host for Urbanology, the Art of War. And for those who are new, my birth name is William Anthony Rogers, and I've spent many years studying and teaching Sun Tzu's classic, The Art of War. So it's kind of a play on words that I guess I was destined to have that type of relationship, not only with the strategic excellence of Sun Tzu, but to be able to have the ability to use the strategies in many creative ways in Urbanology as a strategic planning group. We are in the middle, I believe, of Women's History Month. And I thought for this show, it would be fitting to have two women who have excelled in an industry that is really controlled and run by men since the beginning of that. However, not to get too far into history, but there were many records of women who were in commerce, sacred commerce, and the like that date back thousands of years ago. But nevertheless, currently, it's not a lot of women, more than, I suppose, 25 years ago. And each one of these women have been in this business and have excelled in this business for over 25 years. And Jana Woodhouse, who was the first woman to trade on Wall Street, which, talking about good old boys, you can't be a greater good old boy place as the Wall Street, which is the heart of the country's financial district. Uh, Laura Abadsantos Rogers has 25 years in managing the complex CUNY system. There are 25 different colleges, 11 uh, four-year colleges, 7 graduate schools, and 7 professional schools. And the professors, presidents, and all of those people uh, are used, obviously, when they retire, financial advisors. So that's her area. And a unique, uh, I guess, way of dealing with this business is that as a holistic health practitioner, she's managed to uh, merge wellness and finance together. So there's two unique individuals. And for today, we're going to talk about women in finance, the things that women should know, what they have been doing, what these two ladies have gone through to get to where they are, and the tips that people might want to be aware of as relates to following in their footprints. So I'd like to welcome Ms. Jana Woodhouse and Ms. Laura Abadsantos Rogers. Please.
Greetings.
How are you
Hello,
both
everyone.
doing? And happy Women's History Month.
Yay for the women.
Yes, we
So
celebrate women.
you both have an impressive track record in an industry that women are not necessarily known to be in or to run. I'll start with you, Jana. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found yourself in this area that not too many people who look like you, whether they're black, white, or whatever, there are not too many women in doing what you who were able to do what you did. So give us a brief outline and let people know who you are.
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Tony, for having me on Urbanology. I started, my idea was my mother wanted me to be a lawyer, and that's not what happened. God had another plan. So I was an intern working with my high school teacher who owned a tax office in Brownsville. And so after 2 years, I bought it from him. And as
How
doing,
old were you then?
I was 19.
Okay.
And one thing that my dear dad taught me was that he who writes the check is free. So you got to have a business, you know. And but the thing was is that during that time, it was in the early 80s, the market was not was beautiful because we had high interest rates. We also had high inflation. So I wanted my clients to have tax-free bonds. And lo and behold, I'd send them out and they'd come back with folks telling them that they didn't qualify. And I had to find out why. So, how I wound up getting to Wall Street really was trying to find out how could I help my clients just get some tax free, some tax advantage stuff. And I wasn't doing that. I was just doing the accounting. But God would have it, I did get a chance to go to and find my spot at Omni Mutual at 2 Wall Street. And we were a venture capital firm. So I really had the nuts and bolts. So that's how I got there was is that I sort of segued into it. But I'm so glad because I can make a difference for my community because the investment advisor, I'm so glad Laura is who she is because so many people in our community don't get to see the investment advisor. They get to see the insurance agent. So this is a wonderful, yeah, that's how I got started. And as I went through brokerage firm to brokerage firm and trading, and matter of fact, I was one of the first in the project of moving brokers into banks. That was an interesting world too. But I just said no. But just to add to that is that things have changed immensely in our industry, but I still a good old boys club.
Laura, you have been in the 25 years plus. But the unique thing about you is your relationship with the CUNY system, which is how we met actually, to be able to work that system continuously for 25 years is, I don't think that there's anybody in New York State that can say that. And it's very complex, and it gets even more complex. But you also have incorporated health and wellness in many of the things that you do, which I guess you're stressed if you don't have, and you're stressed if you don't, if you think you're going to lose it. You're stressed. So money and health has a direct relationship. So Laura, tell us a little bit about how you were able to get into the CUNY system. Some of your briefly about how you merged wellness with your business. And I forgot to mention, both of you ladies have your own companies. You found Jana Woodhouse is uh, Anajin
Anaj Enterprises for
Enterprises,
all your financial needs. I do my own commercials.
and Laura is LAS Financial Counseling, which is part of the
Consulting.
consultant, which is part of the Plan Member Securities Corporation. So, Laura, tell us a little bit about how you found yourself in CUNY, how you had the wherewithal to stay in CUNY, that system, as well as combine that with wellness.
Absolutely, Tony. Thank you so much for inviting me. Um, and I truly want to rejoice women now and always. So let's segue. Yana, when I started in Wall Street, we were neighbors. I started in 14 Wall Street
Oh
in
yes.
1983.
Okay. Yeah, I got there in '83 also. So we were members. We were, yes.
We were neighbors. What a small world. Well, I'm originally from the Philippines. I left the Philippines when I was age 22, and my dream was to be a stockbroker. I was a money market trader in the Philippines. And so when I did study to be a stockbroker, I specialized in financial planning instead of just being a broker buying stocks. I did the comprehensive type of finance, which is financial planning. And so in 1985, um, I was asked to join a company that would be the investment house as an alternative to the TIAA CUNY system, City University of New York, and actually SUNY as well. So I learned the system, including all the educational systems in New York, TRS, Teachers Retirement System, New York City, the New York City pension plans, and so. And also, I met you, Tony. You were my client in 1986. Um, and so what happened was, in learning the CUNY system and covering all the CUNY schools over those years with other associates of mine, I had chronic fatigue um, from the stress, because doing finance can be stressful. And I found natural way of healing my chronic fatigue, which is a complicated breakdown of the immune system. And I learned to open up the symptoms, which we call in our wellness approach energy blockage. Any pain, illness, disease, any symptom is called an energy blockage. So when you learn them from a holistic point of view, you open up all these energy blockages, and of course your billions of cells in your body open up and get well. So I learned to manage both wellness and transfer the wellness into managing finance. Um, and I wanted to make myself to be the example of that, because I was also volunteering uh, uh, for a wellness center at that time, and I helped them open up their 501c3, which um, I am heading now, and I'm running that wellness center now, which is the Key Energy Wellness Center. And so that was how I was able to help my clients. Um, Instead of, getting stressed out, I was able to release the stress, help them in a holistic wellness way of managing their finances, from pre-retirement to retirement, and enjoying a one until they enjoy their lives during retirement and so on. Uh, and that's where I am right now. I'm a health and wealth practitioner.
Well, one of the things, again, which is always interesting, you both remember Bernie. I call him Bernie Madoff because he made off with a lot of money. but but what happened is that people became very uh, fearful of anyone giving financial advice. And then there was the pandemic that came about, which, created problems. What are some of the things that you feel, Yana, I'll ask you first, what are some of the things that you feel has allowed for you to overcome all of those obstacles, plus being a female, a black
Really,
woman in that, which
yeah,
is
I'll
on
throw
top of
all that in there,
all
all the
those
stuff.
things.
But the real situation is the relationships. Relationships build trust. Uh, I started off my career with taxes. This is my 46th year in my tax business, and I had relationships with these people. They watched me grow up, and those relationships went all the way to the level of multiple referrals. I don't think, all right, I take that back. I did have in my career, I've done 2 cold calls, and that's because I wanted to know what it felt like. And I didn't like it. I love the relationships I have. I love to build their dreams, their desires. So, in essence, a situation like Mr. Madoff, uh, again, there was a lot of factors to it. And because I had experienced the world of similar Madoffs before in my firm at Omni, it was really one of those things when I saw it coming, it just was one of those things that greed. What is it that they say in that Wall Street movie? Greed is good, not all the time. So for me, it was really the relationships. I don't have people who really question. I have my the expertise. I am an expert. So, and I have all my licenses. And matter of fact, I had to put some of them to rest because my firm didn't have everything. Because I started off really as an options trader also. So, in saying that, the fear can be overcome by education. Most people do not know how money works. They say that really over taking a general education test, a little quiz, the average person, almost 66% of Americans can't even explain what compound interest is. They just don't know. Why? Because it's not taught in the schools. 23 out of 50 in this states in this country teach financial literacy at the high school level, make it mandatory, but they teach them how to balance a checkbook, or the simple things. So once we've learned, and my mantra is, if you know better, you'll do better. And so that's one of the things I'll put a plug in for women. We in the financial service industry, we understand and we understand what people need, but we feel what they're going through, and we relate. It's not just about the sale, it's about being able to understand what someone's goals and dreams are, caring about them. It's a nurturing quality that we have, and it does supersede a lot of men. In this industry, it's superior to that because of the fact that we have that one little innate ability, is to utilize what God gave us: 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Laura, I know that you have similar experiences. I know you've worked with people in the CUNY system, and they retired, and then you work with their children and help people build houses and a number of other things. So I'm assuming that you would agree that relationships is extremely important for anyone, man or female, who are looking to go into any type of business. But how did you weather the storm, the pandemic, and the issue that Bernie Madoff posed questions to people? People lost money. There was a lot of fear, a lot of blame. I'm assuming that your holistic background helped you with that. But how did you weather the storm?
Yes, absolutely. Perfect example. One of my CUNY clients inherited inherited money from Madoff's management. So my CUNY client's parent, um, was a client of Madoff, and this CUNY client inherited the funds. So that parent said, "Don't ever touch that money," right? So yes, over the years, relationship and communication, is the most important, um, because you always want to have that connection, the clarity, the disclosure, the transparency, the integrity with the planning. And so, what can I do? Um, I couldn't help them manage the investment because they were simply listening to their ancestor. And lo and behold, the economy went down. They lost their funds with Madoff, but they did not lose their funds with me. And that's how I was able to reveal myself. Um, and with regards to managing the stress, um, as a financial advisor, you, well, I'll speak about myself. I need to step back from the emotions, because when you're not used to managing money, it can be stressful and emotional, mental stress and emotional stress. So it blocks the objective way of planning and simply being present and being able to forward look to the future. And that's what planning is about. And so I learned from my own way of holistic healing that you need to step back from the negative emotions and, you know, observe what is happening and be objective and present with the situation rather than blame, judgment, and criticism, because those are the emotional factors that really um, ruin the planning.
Question: the pandemic, I like to call it that. Jana, that obviously created some needs to pivot. How did you find yourself? And I'm going to ask you the same question, Laura. did you find yourself like everybody else having to do a lot of business uh, electronically? And then there's the whole issue about what you can do electronically. So how did you bypass some of the uh, uh, legal issues that financial advisors have and the hacking and all of that stuff, but to still, I think it was 2 years that we were in lockdown. How did you deal with that?
Well, it was simple. My brokerage firm set us up so that we could learn the Zoom world. And it was just getting clients acclimated to the Zoom to talk to me, see me. I still had office activity taking place, but it was rough. Um, but again, like Laura said, the communication is so important. We watched the market go up, down, over, out. We had great changes. I remember, and that brought me back to the times in 1987 when we had the crash of the lifetime.
The Black Monday.
Oh, that was horrible. And it was
People were
funny.
jumping off the roof.
Yeah, but it was interesting because my firm, we had sort of lucked up. So people think that I was a genius, which I had to take credit for that, is most of my clients were in cash during that time. And it's so interesting. Most of my clients were in cash when this pandemic came. So, it's one of those things of saying, when do you get in? And I always, from a cultural point, say, well, it's like getting into jump double dutch. When do I get in? No, you strategically plan and you go through and hand holding. So how did I get through with the technical part? Well, I had a lot to deal with as far as on my own self and depression, the feeling of what was going on. We had also experienced the viewing of George Floyd being murdered. And I had to pull everything back together and really focus in on what was important, was my clients' goals and dreams. And I called everybody, kept calling, and it helped me a lot to be able to talk with them, but more so to see them. I lost 17 clients during COVID. And my clients aren't clients, they're like family. So it was really hard to see. I had a client that wound up in the morgue, and I didn't know the morgue could hold you for 6 weeks, but they did. And her sorority sisters had to try to come and get her out of the morgue. It was rough, but we made it through. Why? Because we're close knit, and that, as women being in the industry, sometimes a little bit at a fault, we nurture, we empathize, and we succeed. We work with our clients to do that. So for me, that's what it was. I didn't care too much for the fact that I had to stay home, but we worked it out. So it worked out well. And now it's hard to get them in the office because they still want to do Zoom.
Laura, your situation probably was a little interesting because a lot of your clients are in the CUNY system, and CUNY was set down. So, and I know for a fact a lot of your clients are a little older and weren't that technically inclined to deal with Zoom and some other things. So, what were some of the strategies you used to maintain uh, your large client base?
Sure. Well, luckily for me, I'm a branch in Harlem, New York, but the head office is in California. So in 2014, I was already set up to work with a company online, virtually, or by speakerphone or by FaceTime. And so we were even the first ones in 2020 to send out masks to our clients because you couldn't buy masks. So I sent masks to clients in 2020. They were so appreciative, and then they started ordering for more. So my assistants and I were set up, uh, dealing with clients not coming to office, and because nobody was going anywhere, right? Uh, I was always in touch with my clients, and as Yana said, hand holding, and it was not as difficult as it may be for those who would uh, travel to the office every day, because my office was set up in a townhouse uh, where the personal space was in other floors, and there was a segregated floor for the financial office. So luckily for me, it was not difficult.
Well, there's a lot of things that we have to pivot from, and one of the things that I believe that is happening now is there's a political unrest. People are concerned about the election that's coming up and all of those types of things. But there is a larger number of women who I think are looking at going into the industry that you both represent. So I'll ask both of you to give a brief bit of advice to a young Yana and a young Laura who are saying, I think I'm going to follow in your footsteps. What would you say to them? Yana, you go first.
Okay. That's an interesting question, because I really feel that, unfortunately, I don't think that our young women really know this is an opportunity. Um, and so my goal is always to get out here and show them what it really is to be a full service broker, to be a financial educator. I do the whole thing. And so I would advise them, those that want to find a mentor. And I put myself out there a while ago, and even more so when I was the keynote speaker for the Harlem Fine Arts show. I put it out. I'm looking for folks. I'm looking for my 12. I figured it worked for Jesus. It can work for me. I'm looking for my 12 to mentor, to not have to go through what I went through, to break the glass ceiling, the corporate veil, and to walk them through. I have talked to many a women, and they just don't see themselves in the position of being independent, to getting the licenses. It's just fearful. And so, it's the best thing is to have a mentor.
Mm.
I got mentored by men, but I think that it's even better when a woman mentors another woman in this industry. So anyone who wants to come into this industry, number one, I put myself out there. They can communicate and call me. But also to find that mentor that will take you through and be able to pick up the phone. It's so important. The industry itself, we know numbers. I don't think that's the problem. We know the planning and strategies that are out there. This market, it's phenomenal, but the thing is that we do need to have a helping hand. And yes, like you said earlier, that people think that women don't know how to manage money. Have you ever watched a mother take a little tiny check, maybe $20, and make a whole meal out of it, and then still clothe the children too while they're at it? So I don't think that's the problem. I think that they don't know that it is an industry that they can get into. No one's standing by saying, come. And the very few women that are really in position. When I came into this industry, most of the people that I saw were back office. They weren't trading. They got licenses, but they'll tell you they didn't do any trading. And so we got to show them that this is a place you can make money, that you can help people, and you can change lives, because we talk about change your literacy, change your life.
Laura, what would you advise a young person who is thinking about getting into the business that you're in? What would you say to them?
Okay, well, it's interesting that you have that question because um, my two assistants are already from City University of New York. So, I became their mentor, I just as most of the professors at CUNY were educators. I was their financial educator, and I just told my clients, look, I want you to uh, continue to have your love and passion for education, and I will help you with educating you with your finances. And that was my partnership with clients. Now, with regards to my assistants, already when they graduated from CUNY, they came as interns, and then eventually one of them became full-time. And it's interesting that I hired him in 2008 when the market crashed. So his name is Henry, and I'm very proud of him. But I was telling him, Henry, the market doesn't look like this. Okay, this is a weird market that we're working with. So he knows that by now, of course, after all the years of working together. And so, because I have assistants already that I have mentored, um, I would just, use that template for the young people, male or female, who would like to be in the business of finance. First of all, um, they really need to have an interest in managing money. And what's excellent is that women, especially, are already geared and wired for managing money. Just as Yana mentioned, we women wear a lot of hats. We budget everything. The household, the expenses, the shopping, the paying for school. Credit card debts and all that. So once you have that's that way of managing the incoming funds on a monthly basis, guess what? You can transfer that to other ways of being a manager for money, like budgeting, debt reduction, buying a home, college education, diversification, eliminating debts, life insurance, long-term health care coverage, planning for retirement. We are women, especially, are wired already with skills and abilities. It's just transferring that translation in the world of finance. Um, and I think it would be more interesting, and to just look within the skills that you already have, instead of looking out there, what else do I need to learn, but look from within and then start growing those skills and abilities that you have towards the goal of being in finance.
Today, we are now moving into a tax season. So I, again, like to thank both of you for taking the time to be on the show. But Yana, I'll ask you this question first because I know that you had a tax business and you still do taxes. Is there anything that you might want to suggest or uh, not necessarily giving advice, but some of the changes? Every tax season, there's a new change. There's something that happens that has to be understood and the like. So there are many women who are heads of household. There are many women who are now professionals. There are many women who uh, are looking for advice, and this is the time that they probably might need it because if you know don't have that plan, sometimes if, you fail.
To fail. Yeah, definitely during this time and this day and age, we have the world of technology. And unfortunately, our young people spend a lot of time getting bad advice from the internet. I tell folks that due to the fact of the world of taxes and I feel like I have a little up before because when my clients come, normally financial advisors can't give tax advice. Well, I'm an accountant, so I can do that. I can give some guidance. Everybody in this world right now seems to have an LLC. I wish I had a dollar for every LLC. I'd be the billionaire, and they could continue doing what they're doing, which is to know the rulings and what an LLC is. You know, people get into business to show losses. I was like, this is insanity. So, what I would say to folks in this day and age, yes, being an entrepreneur is great. Making sure you have your team together is even more important. That team is a good financial advisor, a good accountant, and a good lawyer.
That's
And
right.
putting that team together, and even though many say, I can't afford that. That's too much. Look, I tell folks there was an old what is it movie called "I'm Going to Get You, Sucker," and they said, "How much is one rip?" So, how much is 1 hour of your time as from an accountant's point of view, from a lawyer's point of view, for a financial advisor? How do I get my questions answered? And then set that relationship up. You can do it. You know, this is our era in this day and age. Jobs are under attack. And that's because, we have the infamous AI coming about. I've gotten so many calls and recruiting calls, and I'm sure you did, Laura, also. Hello, I'm AI. I would like to tell you, about. So in today's world, there's a lot of things that are being replaced. We go into the supermarket. There's no more supermarket jobs. The tolls are gone. So I would say in today's world, individuals, especially in the urban community, we need to get our act together. We need to get our businesses together. And we need to work within our communities and trust the professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And Laura,
Mm-hmm.
what's your feeling about some of the things that at this time during tax season, in preparation for that, before people come to you, what should they be doing? What type of knowledge should they have that you believe that would enhance what they're doing?
Well, it is true that you need to have that triangle. I mean, once you have the portfolio set up, of managing your investment, that triangle would be the CPA, financial advisor, and the estate lawyer. However, if it's a young person who is just starting, um, you would like to put in line your ducks in a row, making sure that when you work with your CPA, and we work with all our CPAs, we are very busy preparing taxes for clients right now. Um, you want to make sure that you are putting away some money to reduce your taxes, for either 2023 or 2024, because in 2023 you can still set up an IRA, which is deductible, or a Roth IRA, uh, which is not deductible, but the growth is tax free. For the young people who would like to put away savings, that's one of the ways to build a portfolio. And of course, for the entrepreneurs, for those business owners, whether you are beginner or a savvy business owner, you would like to lower your taxes, in setting up a SEP IRA. If you have one, you set up one last year, you can still put away till April 15. Or if you do an extension, you can put away until October 15. So most money makers, they sometimes get so stressed about, oh, I have to do my taxes. But the tax strategy, the lowering your taxes is also an important part, which a CPA would not necessarily do. And since Jana is both an accountant and a financial advisor, she will know how to advise her clients that way, but not necessarily my clients. And that's why I work with the CPAs of my clients, or I refer them to the CPA that I know and have worked with and have experienced for many years, because my relationship with the CPA is able to release the load on our clients, on our mutual clients, when preparing taxes. So most investors or clients are not aware of that. It's a separate transaction. Let me go to my CPA, and they have that relationship, and I'm blocked from that relationship. But it's always good that the financial experts are connected, because that connection and that transparency will help the client, whether it is to reduce taxes or to create more savings or to build their portfolio, because we want to have the clients create extra funding for whatever goals they need, whether to reduce taxes or to build their portfolio, short term or long term.
Yana, and Laura, Yana, I'll ask you first. There has been for over a period of time this issue of fiat money and cryptocurrency that's going to take over. There won't be any paper money in the future. What's your view on that, and how do you advise your clients about that? Laura, I'm going to ask you the same thing. So,
Oh Lord,
Oh,
that cryptocurrency, bless his soul. Uh, for the most part, I will say people just really don't understand what it is and what they're getting into. My answer to my clients is, after you do what I call the 7 money milestones, which is make sure you have an emergency fund, make sure you got proper protection, you got your retirement stuff taken care of, you got your wealth management, you have your wills, you have, once you have everything put together and you want to go and gamble, go for it. Where they see and predict with the future of cryptocurrency, I see a tax fiasco, because I had a client that had over 1,000 trades in 1 year, and she had to pay me more money to enter the thing than making any money. She didn't make any money. She lost. I just think at this stage now, everyone looks, when we're in an economic change taking place, they look for the get rich quick. what's going to get them the most money, for the least amount of work that they have to do, instead of setting up a real plan and strategizing. So that's my answer to my clients and prospective clients is put your plan together, work your plan. And after it's been worked, if you want to dibble dabble a little bit, it's just like, if you want to go to Atlantic City, go ahead. But make sure those stables are taken care of. And see me every 6 months, just like you do the doctor. I'm your financial doctor.
Laura, what's your thoughts about where cryptocurrency is going, and what advice would you give that you do give to your clients when they ask you about it?
Well, fortunately, most of my clients are they're like older, but I do have young clients that are exposed to um, that kind of marketing, or because it's out there, right? It's very easy. You can just set it up on your phone and then buy. My advice is, if you just like Yana said, if you have all your ducks in a row and you just want to try it out, go ahead. Just be prepared to lose it, and make sure that your your financial universe is fully funded, and your life is, there's no risk in your life that you are creating that will entail some, too much losses, uh, because the cryptocurrency is a very volatile market, and it's it's there, and it probably won't go away. It will, I think it will always be there. However, I don't get involved with the way, like if they ask me, can you help me? I don't get involved in managing that type of investment. However, I always advise them, whatever it is you want to do, I know you're going to do it, but make sure you're prepared to lose it.
Jana, before we started, you had mentioned something about an event, an International Women's Conference that's going to take place relatively soon. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure. International Women's Day.
Mhm.
I'm not sure of the full origin when it started, but it was put together by women internationally. And so on Friday, the 8th is the day. It's only one day, and it's all over the world. Women celebrate women.
Mhm.
And so since we have my firm, we promote a book called How Money Works, Take Control or Lose It for women. And so we're going to have a little program. And if someone's interested, they can definitely email me because it's virtual, because it's all over. Everybody's going to chime in. It's at 1:00 in the daytime for Eastern Standard Time. And so at that point, there's going to be some acknowledgments of women in different industries. But even more so, the book covers 9 women and different stages of their lives and come up with solutions from the age 19 to 83. Things that we as women encounter and don't know. It was written by Sharon Lecter, known for How Money Works, not How Money Works, listen to that, for How Money Works, but Sharon Lecter was one of the co-authors of Rich Dad, Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. Again, here's a woman in a financial position not getting acknowledged properly. So, she's written many books for the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and she's one of the authors, along with Kim Schooler, who was one of the presidents of Transamerica's broker dealership. So the event is about 2 hours of us talking as women about certain things that are happening with us in the financial service industry and with our finances. The reason why this is so important is 2030, the year 2030, they say that women will be the controllers of over $30 trillion in this country in the United States alone. Now, if we don't know how money works, it could get kind of ugly and where the money will go. So it's very important that we as women learn how money works. And so that day we're going to talk a bit. We're going to show the characters in the book, but I get the honor of talking about why it's important that women get in the financial service industry.
Well, that's interesting. That's, I guess, our timing uh, was pretty good. Now, if someone wanted to uh, get into this, what is it, 2 hour day conference, how do they do that?
They could contact me because there's a link that they can go to. It's all over the internet, but I think the easiest way would be if they just send me an email at anajenterprisesinc@gmail.com and say I'd like the link so I can get it to them, because it is going to be a Zoom. But here I go again trying to do this technology. But I'd be glad to share that with them. I was looking on my phone to see if I had the full Zoom link, but I don't. So if they contact me at Anaj Enterprises, ANAJ Enterprises Inc@gmail.com, I'll be glad to send the link to them. And I hope they would register. I think it's going to be a fun-filled time and a way to expose the financial service industry while also helping some women understand that we are important and learning about money is important. It is known that 80% of men die with a partner. 80% of women in this country die alone with no partner.
Hmm.
We got to
Well,
learn.
well, I would like to thank both of you ladies for taking time out of your busy schedule to give some advice and some thoughts. And I hope those who are listening can find ways to answer or ask questions that might come up based on women in finance. So I'll go with you first, Laura. Are there any uh, parting comments that you might want to give to the listeners as relates to the topic here, women in finance? What would you like to leave people with?
Of course, I want everyone to know that making money doesn't have to be stressful. Um, and once you take out the stress in making money, you will love yourself, you will love your life, and you will enjoy uh, creating your goals and objectives.
Yana?
I would say is that you reach out to the financial advisors out here, preferably some women, preferably Laura and myself.
Yeah,
um,
that's true.
and really get your goals and dreams in order. Napoleon Hill gives that advice is that you write your goals down and then you read them every morning and every night before you go to bed. Set your world together, control your world, because you have that power.
Well,
And
Yana.
another thing, Tony,
Mhm.
you are the master of your universe.
Yes.
Well, Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, Laura Abadsantos Rogers, thank you very much for sharing this information on our show today. And I'm sure that is going to be busy. Hopefully, maybe based on this show, you might be a little busier. So, let's look look at it on the best side of the time that we're spending. So, thank you both again for uh, giving me some time today. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Tony. More power to you. And I wish
Okay,
you the highest best and
thank
everyone.
you.
Yes,
So
definitely.
that brings our show to an end. Next week, again, we share a show with Columbia University. So uh, we'll be talking about hopefully some more information about women and their accomplishments in not only America but throughout the world. So again, thank you. Thanks, Soul City. Thank you for tuning in. And hopefully, God willing, I'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Urbanology.